Let's see. I'm not sure if Deuce is watching yet. So there's only one person watching. Oh yeah, so yeah, you're talking about the the stuff like Soren has up here in the corner, right? Yeah. Do I have a way to do that? Yeah, I've got another camera here. I'll show you my desk setup. Just got to move some TV equipment out of the way. This camera. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so I've got this old phone set up here on this little stand, and that's just pointing at my power supply there, and then it just cropped out the image for that top one. Then this is a really cheap little USB power meter that I found, and then I just taped on a webcam so that it's pointed at the screen, and that's the middle one. And then my Handtech oscilloscope, multimeter, wave generator, all three in one. That's what's broadcasting the voltage. So yeah, that's pretty sweet, because actually I can put it in oscilloscope mode, and then I can bring up the full. I can turn it into a full oscilloscope through the computer. So that's actually pretty sweet. I actually really like that little thing. And then this cheap tablet that I set up with some software so I can do my OBS studio changing. Yeah, I love this thing. I absolutely love it. It's incredible. It does everything you need. It's got scope built in. It's got a wave generator. And the awesome thing is, because it hooks up through the computer, you can actually draw your own waves on the computer, and it saves them to the device. So you can just go through, like, these are all standard ones that it has, but like that last one was one that I drew myself just to test it. Yeah, it's really cool. I have to admit, that thing is awesome. Alright, so desk. There we go. Alright, I'm still not sure if he's watching yet. Yeah, that's a pretty sweet setup you've got too. I haven't used mine for anything actually related to what I'm doing yet, but I feel like I will in the future, so it's nice to have. I've also, since you're showing your computer monitor setup, I'll do the same here. So I've got all my stuff here, and then I've got my laptop, which I just use to display OBS, and then I've got a monitor up there where I do everything else on. So this is the software for the oscilloscope, wave generator, and multimeter. And then this is the software I use for my thermal camera. It's called Thermovision, and it supports a lot. It supports like basically every thermal camera that you can possibly imagine. But usually they show up right here, but I deleted all of them because all I need is the Seek Thermal one, so that's the only one I left. So it's really simple to use. But first off, I'm still not sure if he's watching yet. I just want to make sure that he's watching, because he said that he wanted to... Oh yeah, it says 2 watching now. Okay. Just wanted to make sure. Alright. So this is the cable that I use. It's just a USB on one end, and then a female micro USB on the other. And then take your Seek Thermal, and you plug that in just like you would to your phone, and then take your USB, plug it in there, and then for the software, let's see, okay, I'll just show you like this. This is probably easiest. You just hit on and connect, and then this always pops up because I haven't actually set this drift correction. I found that if I actually set this drift correction, it actually kind of screws up the image, so I always just click OK just to bypass it, and then it starts streaming the image. And it usually shows up kind of weird like that. I just go into the live button and hit get reference, but then I usually I like to point this at something that's, you know, a solid surface, like the silicone mat is going to be like a decent temperature. I point it at that, and then I go in and hit get reference, and that changes the whole screen to one color, and now it's like calibrated. So I actually have this set up to so I can turn on the thermal camera right there. So then on top of that, I've also got these. I made this little thing out of a piece of foam and cardboard, and then I shoved a zinc selenium lens down inside of there, and I cut this out so that it fits perfectly around this part. So you just kind of push the foam over it like that, and now you've got an extra lens. And I want to say this is like a 35 millimeter focal range. So to put that in comparison, like the normal camera focused all the way down as low as it'll go on something like my laptop. If you get any closer than about there, it starts getting pretty grainy. It gets really blurry the further you go in. But if you put this 35 millimeter lens on there and you do the same thing, it's incredibly fine lines. I'm trying to think whether I've got, yeah, I do. I've got a tablet board here. Not sure what happened to the other one, but this one will work. Alright, so we've got, this should be charging, I believe. Yeah, okay, so you can see, you know, there's spots on the board, and this is focused all the way down, and that's about as good a resolution as you can get out of it. Like, I can't tell what that is, but when you put this lens on there, oh, you still oh, right, because that's the CPU. It's too big of a chip. You can't really tell what it is because that's the CPU that's getting hot on this one. Still haven't quite figured out what the issue is with this one yet. But let's see. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Okay, so yeah, you can't tell what that is. You can tell that there's, you know, maybe, let me get my tweezers here. You can tell there's something maybe right here that's getting hot. You can tell there's something obviously getting very hot right there, and then maybe something a little lower down there, but it's a little too blurry to actually see, right? Well, if you put this on, check that out. You can see, oh, that's getting warm right there. That's getting very hot. I mean, you can really, it's incredible. Like the difference is just night and day. Like that's normal. Like, okay, you can kind of see what it is, but this, you can get right in there. You can look at every single component on the board if you need to. And this is my, I want to say this is the 35 millimeter. Let me see what this says. 38. This is the 38 millimeter one. I've got a couple more. I've got this one. This is a 50 millimeter. This is probably the one I'll send you if you want it. Because I mean, really, I have a 100 millimeter and I have a 50 and I got a 38. And I really only use the 38. This is what it looks like with the 50. I just kind of have to hold it on there because I don't have a holder for it. This would be what it would look like if I gave you this one, which is still pretty good. I mean, you can tell what all the components are and everything. And I had my 100, but I'm not sure where I put it. I don't see it. But really, the 100 really isn't needed either, because really the minimum focal length on this thing is maybe like 150, so it's really not that much of an increase with the 100. How close is yours zoomed in? Can you post like a screenshot or something from your smartphone, since you only use it with your smartphone? Because I'm curious on like something like this. Like this is all the way zoomed in for mine, and that's about as good a resolution as I can get. I have to pull back to about, here before you can actually really see what I'm even looking at. I want to say that these things have about a 6 or 7 inches focal length on them when they're focused all the way in. And then, obviously, like, very far focal length when you go all the way out with them. But try it at about 6 or 7 inches. I don't know if you can tell how far away I'm holding this, but it's probably a good, about about a finger and a half. I mean, it actually doesn't look too bad from this distance. You can kind of tell what all the components are. And like you said, when you have tweezers, you can just kind of put that in there and say, oh yeah, it's this right here. But it's just so much nicer to be in real close, and especially when you have like really small stuff, like working on phones, it's really nice to be able to just zoom way in and say, oh yeah, it's that tiny little capacitor. Another nice thing about being able to zoom in this far is that you can actually see the ground plane on the board. All those blue dots, you know that that's the ground plane because it's going to be the coldest. This software has a lot of little things you can do with it too. Like you can change the color, temperature. You can change, like, if you don't want it to keep adjusting itself. So, like, sometimes you have one component on the board, like say this. You're in view of multiple things that are heating up, but one is hotter than the rest. So that's what's going to be dark red, and it's kind of hard to tell where the other ones are. I can't even tell what that is in that picture that you posted. I can't even tell what that is. But here, so let's say we're looking at this board, and yeah, I mean, we can kind of tell that there's multiple things around that main chip that's getting hot, but we can't really tell because that chip is so hot that it's kind of blurring everything else around it. So what we can do is we can turn off, how do I do that? Turn off auto ranging for the temperature, and then we can manually adjust the temperature range. So we can say, oh, well, yeah, that chip is getting really hot, but what if I bring it down to there? Now you can see, there's this here, there's something over here, there's something right here. Not just this. When you have it up too high, it kind of just like bleeds it out a little bit. You can mess with it and say, oh yeah, now I can really see that there's something right over there, and there's something right over there. That's why I think I like this software more than the phone software that this camera came with. Oh, that's your soldering iron. Oh, okay. That makes sense. Yeah, it kind of does look like a soldering iron now that I look at it. Yeah, this is all through the PC software. This is through software called Thermovision. There's also another one called Secofix. I started using that when I first got this camera, but ever since I found this Thermovision, I haven't used the Secofix since. Yeah, I'm really not a fan of the Seek software. The only time that I use the Seek app on my phone is if I'm like away from my desk. I noticed that I've used it quite a bit on TVs because I can't, I obviously can't have a TV on my desk, so I have it usually behind me, and so I'll use that because then I can take the camera over to wherever I need to work on it versus having it at my desk. But for stuff like, tablets, phones, laptops, stuff like that I can have on my desk, definitely use the PC because it's got way more options in the software. Yeah, dude, if you want it, I'll send you this 50mm focal. This is the 50mm one. I mean, yeah, you can tell exactly what's on the board with the 50mm. You can tell that it's that. What is that, a resistor? I assume it's a resistor. Yeah, it's a resistor. That's why that big thing's getting hot there. And I still haven't found the problem with this board. This is actually like the charging circuit, I believe. So that's why it's getting hot. But I think the issue on this one is the main power regulator, which is this one here. Because it's not getting hot. It's it's the one thing that's not getting hot. Not even the slightest bit warm. It's just blue. Yeah, the problem with these Seek cameras is if you have, I mean, I'm actually using right here. I've got an extension cable. The problem with the Seek cameras, though, that I've found is that the extension cable is too long, that it doesn't work. I've actually got a long extension cable that I just plugged into my camera that I was showing you my desk, and I tried that on the Seek camera with this cable, and even though it was long enough to reach over to where I needed it to, it wouldn't work because I guess the distance was too long on the USB or something. I'm not exactly sure, but I guess these Seek cameras really don't work very well unless you have a very short run of cable. I don't know if it's a voltage problem or what it is, but yeah, I know they make powered. Yeah, they make powered ones that might work. I haven't tested that yet. Yeah, actually, I probably should test that because I've got a powered USB cable that runs from the second story of my house down into the basement because I used to run my gaming computer in the basement so that I wouldn't have the heat in the second story during the summer. So I've got a cable that runs all the way down there. That's probably like a 30-foot cable. That would probably work. Oh, really? Oh, so what, do you have a micro USB female to micro USB male, or how are you doing that? Oh, nice. Okay, so if you, yeah, micro USB female and micro USB male. Oh, okay, yeah, that might be kind of hard to find an adapter for that. I was gonna say you could find like a USB-A to, well, no, because then you just need one of these cables anyways. Well, yeah, I mean, all you need is one of these cables. You can find them on Amazon. They're, I want to say they're like $7 for a 2-pack. They actually work really well. I'll link you to them as soon as I finish the video here. But yeah, they're just real cheap. I think I bought these off of eBay, but they sell them on Amazon too. Yeah, and then the software is free because, you know, it's open source. And then you just need the driver, but the driver is open source too. It's just the what is it? WinUSB. I think it's what it's called. WinUSB driver. Let me double check that. Yeah, it's just the WinUSB driver from Zadig, Zadig. You just download that, and then yeah, you download that, and then the device that you need to choose to install the driver to. When you first plug in your camera to your PC, it'll come up as let me see. There's really no easy way for me to do a screen capture. Let me do this. It'll come up as com.thermal.pir is what it comes up as. That's not what you install the driver to, though. What you want to install the driver to is there's two things that come up. I can't remember the name of the other one because I've already got the driver installed, but it comes up as, is it this? No. Antec. Yeah, I can't remember what it is. Imaging devices, maybe? No. Yeah, I can't remember. It's not this one though. This isn't the one that you want to install a driver to. It's whatever the other one that comes up is. You install it to that, and then it just pops right up in this program, no problem. Yeah, not the com.thermal. Yeah, that one just leave without a driver. It's fine. I wish I could find what the name of... Oh, here it is. It's called IAP interface is what it comes up as. That's what you install the WinUSB driver to. I'll link you to all this stuff just so that you're good. But it's yeah, it's really simple. Like I said, it's like $7 for 2 of these cables. I don't know if they sell them in 1-packs, but it'd probably be like $3-4 if they had a 1-pack. Alright, I'm gonna stop the stream and then I'll just go on the computer real quick and link you all this stuff.